Welcome to the Gritcast, where we get into the nitty-gritty of all things hockey. From the East to the West Coast. Here are your hosts, Matt Pierce, Nikosh Ganguly, and Darius Dominguez.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. The Gritcast is back for another week, another episode, and there's a lot to talk about, especially in Leafs and Oilers land. But Matt, how are you doing this week, man?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's just you and I this week. Nick is at the Easter Seals Celebrity Hockey Classic. I don't know the exact name for it, so it's just the two of us this week. Lots of things to talk about: Oilers, Leafs, some EA NHL news, some other league info. But before we get into things, Darius, tell us about our sponsor for today.
So every episode of the Gritcast this season is now brought to you by Snipe Show Hockey Apparel. Go check them out on Instagram. The link will be in the description. If you're listening on audio, it'll be in the details tab. I don't know what they call it. Anyway, it'll be in the description, the metadata. So you can go check out their hats there. Here's an example of one, Selly Hard. This was one of the best sellers last week and heading into Christmas. So go check that out. They have a plethora of different colors and all that stuff. Very popular in the 8 to 13 age group. But yeah, go check those out. And let's get into the episode. Matt, one thing Nick always does, because he is the host of the show and we love him. We love him very much. But he always starts with the Leafs. I noticed that, all right? And I'm biased. I love to start with the Leafs. But this week, I'm giving the floor to you, my friend.
Right
We're going to start
off
with
the bat.
Edmonton Oilers. I hope you're on your toes. I hope you're ready to not be talking about the Oilers at the end of the episode. We're going to get right into it, because it is a disaster. I want to get your thoughts. I want to ask actual questions about how you feel and what the temperature is in Oilers land, because I feel like the Leafs it is not the same playing field.
It's getting there. It's somewhat close.
It's very close. It's very close. The temperature is high. So what do you what is going on, bro?
At this point, honestly, I'm not mad. It's apathetic is the term I would use to describe how I feel about the Oilers right now. Last episode, Nick told me to get angry. I wasn't so much angry about the Oilers last week, but this week, I'm heated. There's a coach, a beloved head coach, Jay Woodcroft. His job is on the line when it shouldn't be, when it's really, Ken Holland's fault for not giving him the right roster to build around, to deploy. He's given him guys like Connor Brown, who is hurt. 9 games in, hasn't done anything. He's got guys like, who else did he bring in?
He's built most of the team that's there currently, right? He's brought in most of these guys. He's drafted. I think, wasn't he there for the Ryan McLeod drafting? Warren Fogle was a guy that he brought in. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think Chiarelli drafted McLeod. I'm fairly certain, but yeah, he did the Fogle Bear trade. But the Oilers, they're not so much a team. They're just a bunch of guys. No leadership, just individual, I don't want to say egos, just a bunch of individual players trying to do their own thing, and there's no cohesiveness whatsoever on the ice right now.
And I mean, it's kind of not that it's looked like that, but I mean, without McDavid scoring 150 points a year, it's a pretty bare bones team. Wouldn't you agree? There's not much behind him and Draisaitl, and they're honestly, they're the 2 best players in the league to me. Maybe not this season, but if you put them up against anyone, I would take them 2 over anyone. But yeah, there's just not much there, other than that. And the goaltending, obviously, we can get into that too.
Yeah.
Let's just dive into it, right? The goaltending is probably the main issue, because I feel if you look at Vancouver, they got Demko and he's holding them in games, and they should be playing well. They should be a playoff team on paper, Vancouver, but you have the goaltending that's allowing you to be that good. Edmonton does not have anything like that. It's a disaster.
Yeah, the goaltending, it's a very, very big backbreaker for the team, because the game against Vancouver on Monday night, the Oilers controlled the entire first period. The shots were 19-2, 10 minutes in. It was 1-0 Oilers. And then the first, I think it was 3 goals on 5 shots for the Canucks.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal. Stuart Skinner, I think one went off Vinny Desharnais' stick, but the other 2, there were saves that needed to be made no matter what the situation was. You don't need big saves all the time. You just need a big save here and there. Just put some confidence to instill in the team.
And I hate to bring it back to the Leafs so soon, but the one thing that has been so refreshing about Joseph Woll, for example, is he's not making big saves all the time, but he's making very timely saves that at least allow them to stay in games. They'll end up losing them, which they have, but that's because of the defense, right? It's a different issue. But Edmonton is just not getting those like timely saves. They're not getting much at all. But like you said, like you don't have to make big saves all the time. They're just not getting anything really. Like it's I don't know. It looks bleak to me. Like that Campbell contract is bleak. Skinner, they threw him to the Wolves last year. I thought he handled it well. He was an all-star. Maybe he's coming down to earth a little bit this year. Like he can't be trusted as a number one. What is the option? Like they just called up
Calvin Pickard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you like? Is he even an option? Like was it just like something where they have to see what they have in the system before they go out and make a trade? Like what's going on?
It's weird because they brought him up, and that's what my thinking was. Okay, start Pickard against the Sharks, see what you have. But no, they went right back to Skinner. It's like, wouldn't you want to start, the AHL? He's got a 930 with the Bakersfield Condors, which in the NHL is what, like a sub 900. But see what you have in the system before making, I don't know, I wouldn't want to say a panic trade, because what's even worse than making a panic trade from Ken Holland is not doing anything at all. Like, you have to do something to try to salvage the season without firing Jay Woodcroft, because like I said at the beginning of the Oilers talk, most of this is not his fault. Okay, the ability, he has a thing where he wouldn't separate McDavid and Draisaitl for a good chunk. Did that last night for 10 minutes until he brought them back together, but most of it is just the lack of Ken Holland to give a good supporting cast around McDavid and Draisaitl.
There really is anything. I mean, on the defensive side of things, you look at Ekholm. He only got him last year at the deadline. The rest of the defensive core is just, Darnell Nurse makes far too much money. You have Kulak back there, which is like okay. Evan Bouchard is a very offensively minded defenseman. Like it looks bleak, does it not? Like what, I don't know what else they're supposed to be performing. I think that's the whole issue. It's not like they're in a position where they're like they are shit, and it's like how do we replenish all our draft picks and all this stuff and prospects. They're in a spot where like they should be a first or second place in their division, and they're not. It's very, I don't know. It's just weird season.
Yeah, it brings me back to the 2017-18 season, where the season prior, the Oilers were eliminated in 7 games. They're 1 game away from the Western Conference Final. And they had all these expectations heading into next year. It's like McDavid, he's going to find another level. And they just whimpered out, and they didn't even make the playoffs next year. So it's sort of deja vu again in Oiler land when it comes to, having a great season or not a great season, getting to where you're expected to be every year and you're heading into the next season. Okay, get there again. You'll be fine. And it just goes off the rails. Like they're not just off the rails. They are the 18-wheeler off a cliff. To bring back
the old Toronto saying. I know it's true. Like it's not off the rails. They've crashed. They have crashed at this point. Hard. Like the whole thing was like their record at the time of the Heritage Classic was like, okay, you get this big win, you're back on the board, things are good, right? You string a couple wins together, you're right there. But they haven't won since. I don't think, right?
Nope. It's been a 4-game. Since. It's been a 4-game losing streak because they lost to Dallas, Nashville, Vancouver, San Jose. So 4-game skid.
And the craziest thing about that Dallas game is they signed Sam Gagner to come back. He scores 2 goals.
He's the only guy who gave a damn that night. He's like, okay, I'll just do it myself. Scores 2 in the final 10 minutes. They come close. And at that point, I was like, all right. Well, this is, where they sort of build momentum, and then it just crashes down. Like Jack Campbell looked like a sieve against Nashville on Saturday. I didn't watch it live, but I caught the highlights. I was like, I'm not putting myself through that whole replay. Caught the highlights. Campbell looked bad. And even on Vancouver, the Vancouver game, I should say, first period was all right, and then it just went all downhill in the second. Yeah. And then in the third, the Oilers tried to goon it up, I should say. I'll own up to it. I'm not that much of a homer, but it's like when the only guy that gives an effort is an injured McDavid, like he's not 100%, and neither are a bunch of guys. That's not an excuse, but you could obviously see it falter in their play. Like Ekholm, not 100% too. Had an all right game, but against the worst team in the league in San Jose, having an all right game against the worst team is not good enough. You need something better.
Yeah, and I think I was going to bring up the McDavid injury thing next. Like, he's 100 – there's no way he's healthy.
Absolutely not.
They brought him back just to play in that game, and he's been playing since. And I think the only reason he has been playing since is because if he's not playing, then they really have no shot, right? Like, they need him in the lineup.
it's all desperation. Exactly, that's what it is.
But I think that's dangerous because he's hurt, right? Like,
Yeah.
I would rather keep him out. Okay, come back here 100%, and you're Connor McDavid, the Connor McDavid we know, and maybe you can salvage the season, even if you squeak into the playoffs, right? Like, just get in there. You're a good team. You know what you can do, right? They've won multiple rounds over the last couple of years, right? So I don't know. It's just really weird. Like, it's just a cursed season, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
it's almost Thanksgiving, the whole thing, or American Thanksgiving, and the whole thing is like, if you're still in the gutter, you're still in the basement by American Thanksgiving, the odds of you getting out of that and into the playoffs are hard, minus the St. Louis Blues a couple of years ago who were in last place.
It's like an outlier.
Yeah. One time ever. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
But
It'll happen again.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, because like you mentioned too, like, not calling it a panic trade. But to me, any trade at this point is a panic trade because it's not supposed to happen. They're supposed to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be any sort of panic trade because the other 31 teams, they know Holland's back is against the wall. And yeah, unfortunately, I think after this road trip, Holland will do his get out of jail free card and fire Woodcroft, which again is the wrong move because firing head coaches one after another, it's not good because I think that'll be Nugent Hopkins, his 8th coach.
Oh my
Like the next one
God.
after Woodcroft, and Nuge has only been in the league for 12 years. 12 years.
That's not the answer either because, well, you said that, so to reiterate that, it's like you can't sustain anything and you can't like bring in any type of culture if you're switching coaches every year and a half, 2 years. It's arguably worse than just tanking the season, like just rolling with it. And Woodcroft, like, I really like him because I watch the Oilers as almost like a secondary team just because I know you're invested in for the podcast and all this stuff. So I try to pay attention with the Oilers. Also, Canadian team. It's nice. McDavid helps. But yeah, Woodcroft is a good coach. Why would you get rid of a guy like that? Like, he's only a year and a half in, right? Like, why would you get rid of a guy so young in his career and he's just going to go somewhere else and do well? Like, why would you? I really don't know what the answer is, but I don't think it's firing Woodcroft. I think it's firing the guy who built the team because the team is not performing.
And Dustin Schwartz, who's been the Oilers goalie coach for almost 10 years. You got there in, I want to say, December 2014, so during the Eakins era. Yeah. And he survived 6 head coaches. And he's not a good goalie coach because you can sort of compare the stats from goalies before they got to Edmonton, when they got to Edmonton, and when they left Edmonton, because the biggest...
Well, look at Jack Campbell.
And even look at a guy like Cam Talbot.
Yeah.
He was great with the Rangers, had one good season with us, saw the Schwartz effect. He was bad, left, and now he's having a great season with the Kings at 36 years old.
And I mean, he had that one great year with the Oilers. Like, besides that 1 year, when's the last time the Oilers had a goalie where you could be like, yeah, for sure, that's the guy?
I'm going to have to go back and say, like, Rolison in the 06 playoffs.
Yeah, like...
Yeah,
that is almost 20 years ago.
Almost.
This season. It is almost 20 years ago.
Even the goalies during the Decade of Darkness, I didn't have much faith in them. Like, the only one I could think of maybe was not even Devin Dubnyk, but it was an old Nikolai Habibulin.
Right.
Yeah. He had great starts to the year, and then the team in front of him caught up, and his stats would tank.
Right. And
so goaltending, it's not as bad as like the Flyers goaltending curse of years past, but it's still there. Like when you had to rely on a 37-year-old Dwayne Rolison to get you to the Cup final, and if he doesn't get hurt, they go all the way. I'm just saying that right now. But they have to instill some change, and it starts with the goalie coach and Ken Holland. Fire Ken Holland. Hashtag fire Ken Holland.
I didn't like even when he was brought in, I told you, or I made it very vocal in like whatever group chats we had, that I was like, this is dumb. This is
like
stupid.
the only success he had, minus the one cap year in Detroit where they won the Cup in 08. But most of it, there was no cap. They had the Mike Ilitch in the Ilitch family, free payroll, like sign whoever, like Fedorov, Shanahan, Yzerman,
Robitaille,
Nick Lidstrom, Chris Osgood, Mike Vernon, Hasek. Hasek. How could I forget Hasek?
Yeah, like shit. They won all those years.
Look at the payroll. I'm pretty sure they had a top 5 payroll every year when there was no salary cap because they would just They would just go out and get guys.
I can do that in NHL 06 GM mode.
Anybody
I can do
anybody
that
can
shit.
do
Yeah.
that. And Holland gets all the credit too for his drafting when really that was his European scouts.
Exactly. Yeah, the GMs, I mean, I know they have final say. It's true. It's a thing, right? So they do get credit for the draft. But these are the scouts that kind of pick these guys out, right? And when I look at Ken Holland, like, honestly, what has he added to this team that has made them any bit better? If anything, they've been worse through his moves, right? Like,
I think
the best
the
parts
only
of the team have been there. It's McDavid and Draisaitl. They've been there.
like in his 4 years or almost 4 years, yeah, 4 years, May 2019, his best move was easily Matisse Ekholm.
Right.
And that's it. That's it.
And that's a great move. Honestly, he won that trade. It's exactly what they needed. He's a great player, but that's one move. And how long has he been there now? It's coming on 6 years, right?
Holland?
Yeah.
2019, so almost
So
five.
almost
Like
5
May
years.
May
Okay,
20
okay.
May 2024 will be 5 years. Yeah.
Right. So he hasn't
And
done
this is his
much.
this is his final year of the contract. And you can kind of tell. It's like there's no way they fire a guy in his last year of a contract, which just kind of makes the season worse because they'll fire Woodcroft, which is just an unfortunate casualty. They'll bring in like I don't know a guy like Gerard Gallant because there's been rumors of that, and then Gallant's only got a 2 year shelf life as a
Yeah,
coach
he'll be
because
out
he
in 2
comes
years.
in, has two all right seasons, and then the team gives up on him,
Yeah, they
and
stopped
out the
listening
door
to
he
him.
goes.
Yeah, he
Yep,
loses the room after 2 years. We've seen it time and time again. It's happened with every team that he's gone to. I think there's danger here for the Oilers because, like you said, Ken Holland, they probably won't fire him just because it's his last year on the deal. Woodcroft, there's, where there's smoke, there's fire. A lot of people are talking about it. But I think there's danger here because if you fire Woodcroft and Ken Holland's up at the end of the year, I don't think you renew Ken Holland going forward. So you don't have a GM.
absolutely not. Hell no.
Yeah, you don't have a GM. Who knows what they do for a coach if they end up firing Woodcroft, if they hire one midseason. I think that's a dumb move because you should wait to the end of the year to hire like an actual good head coach. But then you go into the summer with McDavid having, 2 or 3 years left on his deal. You have zero direction as a franchise and as a team. And he's sitting here like, what am I doing? I think that's super dangerous. Not only him, but Draisaitl and other guys on the team. Like, I don't see any path forward here. I think that's dangerous.
Yeah, the key to McDavid, his extension, all falls on Draisaitl because Draisaitl is up at the end of next year, 2025, 26. I'm fairly certain. He's got 1 year anyways. But it all really depends because if Draisaitl resigns, there's a very good chance McDavid will too. But honestly, if I'm Draisaitl and McDavid, like I hate to say it, but yeah, there's no direction. And your prime in the NHL only lasts for so long, and you don't want to squander that. And that's exactly what the Edmonton Oilers have done during this whole, I don't even want to say Stanley Cup window, but just the whole
That's what
tenure
it
of
is.
those two together. Because Draisaitl's been there for almost 10 years, drafted in 2014. And what's the best he's gotten? No wins in the conference
No,
final.
yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's directionless. I'm apathetic towards the Oilers. Obviously, I'll still love them because I'm past the point of no return, but it's just
Mhm.
watching games. I haven't been this emotionless watching the Oilers since before McDavid, and that's been quite some time.
I
Because
think that's
really,
bad news.
it's bad. Yeah, like I'll watch the game and it's like, oh, they scored. Well, nice, but there's still like 6 or 7 games below 500, and with a team in November of a season that they're supposed to be, cup or bust, they took bust and they took it hard.
Yeah, they're in the basement. They're tied with the San Jose Sharks now because after losing to them, they're tied with
Oh,
the Sharks in the
and
basement.
we didn't even mention that. Oh,
I don't
I
think
think
we
I
need
did
to.
briefly,
I really don't
but
think we
it's
need
just
to. Like did you really think, especially okay, the turning point for me because a lot of people were talking about wouldn't it be funny if the Oilers lost to the Sharks? I was like, if the Sharks beat the Flyers, they're going to carry that momentum into the next game where the Oilers are feeling like shit because they're playing like shit and they're going to beat the Oilers. I wasn't surprised. I thought if they lost to the Flyers, then okay, maybe if they beat the Oilers, that's bad news. But they just carry the momentum. They were feeling good about themselves. So I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know what to think.
I'm sure my feelings towards this team will not change for next week or even the rest of the season. Are we going to get a repeat of me last year? Because every episode of the Gritcast we did, I was feeling, yeah, just emotionless towards the Oilers, and that's bad news. Because watching the Oilers and you don't feel anything, and it's just another wasted evening.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing, and it's something we'll get into. I'm glad you brought that up. Something we'll get into when we talk about the Leafs. But before we move on to that, because we have to, because I want to get into some NHL stuff as well. The Oilers. I want you to like rank something for me quick. I'll just throw it out to you. Issues, okay? Just rank like 1, 2, and 3 in order, whatever. Goaltending, defense, forwards. Like what is the biggest issue ranked?
Biggest issues goaltenders. Second biggest is the forwards. Like they're first or second in high danger chances for, but they're not capitalizing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the defense, third issue. They're just there. I mean, when you have no confidence with your goalie, it
Gonna
gets
look
into your
bad.
head. It,
Yeah,
it's all mentals. Absolutely.
Yeah, if your goalie doesn't make a save for you, it's like you're not gonna play well. You're not playing with the same confidence, right?
You're,
'Cause
you're
like,
playing
shit.
scared.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
it gets
you're playing
behind you,
scared.
you're scared, right? So
Yeah.
that sucks. But I don't know. May I offer you a potential Mitch Marner for Connor McDavid trade? Would you be interested in that whatsoever?
Regular season Marner from last year. I'll take him, but
Okay,
not
cool. Yeah, cool. All right, awesome. All right, but we should
But
move
yeah,
on.
the Leafs, it's Leafs time.
It is Leafs time, Matt. I don't know if you've been paying attention too much, but I've been paying attention. Dude, this season, honestly, like I've been paying attention to at least to start, like the most I probably ever have, or at least since like probably the Phil Kessel days or early Phil Kessel days. Because there's been years in there where I just don't care. Like the year that they got Matthews, I just don't watch. And there's other years there here and there, like the COVID season. I whatever.
I do not want to see another Canadian division ever
No.
again.
No,
That
no,
was
sorry, not even that one.
horrific.
I meant the playoffs, the one where they played Columbus. I didn't even watch a game. I
Oh,
didn't
the
even-
bubble. Oh, okay.
I
Yep.
just zero interest. I knew they were gonna lose. And then the bubble was kind of hard to watch too, like you said. But anyway, not the bubble, the Canadian season, whatever. Stupid, too many stupid names. Anyway, the Leafs this year, like, okay, they've started very similarly to last year. Remember, we were on the podcast last year, me and Nick. Like, this team sucks. They should have traded everybody. We knew what was going to happen. It's a lack of effort, all this garbage. And they've started very similarly to this year. But like last year, I was kind of like, okay, something has to give at some point. Either they're going to make a trade or they're going to right the ship, because the entire roster last year was the same. Like, it was the exact same. So you're like, they're going to figure it out at some point, right? This year, Tree Living comes in. Okay. Let's start at the beginning, Matt, because this is where I want to go with it.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Kyle
Fire away.
Dubas gets fired. He gets canned by Brendan Shanahan. Okay. And then right before the draft, MLSE, the office is in shambles. Okay. Everybody's like, holy shit, Dubas is gone. Everyone's pissed. Shanahan's like, let's look for a new GM. He already has his boy in mind. He knows who he's hiring. It's Brad Tree Living. Brad Tree Living comes in. He's like, hey, I have a vision for the team. He's talking all this shit, you know, like I'm gonna get Matt Dumba. I'm gonna get this guy. I'm gonna get that guy. I'm gonna bolster the blue line. He does none of it, zero of it. He gets John Klingberg for $4 million, who, when he signed it, we knew that the money was bad. We knew that the term was bad. 1 year, by the way. Don't sign that contract. I'd rather have him for 0 years. And we knew the player he is coming into the team, that the way the Leafs play, their style of play, and their personnel on the blue line already. Where's he going to fit in? Why are you getting a power play guy when you have a power play guy in Morgan Riley? Speaking of Morgan Riley, he's back on PP1. The John Klingberg experience has ended after 13 games, all right? So we're off to a great start. But to go back to everything, the problem with Dubas and why he got fired is because he was looking for more power. He wanted more in the hockey ops side of what Shanahan controls. So Shanahan axed him, right? Because he wanted Shanahan to take more of like the business side, not, you know, so hands-on with the players and the trades. So now Shanahan hires this new puppet, Brad Tree Living, right? And Tree Living's making a couple moves. He makes bad moves like the Klingberg stuff, and he hasn't upgraded the team. Bertuzzi sucks ass. If Nick was here today, he would tell you the same thing. That guy, it's something. He doesn't want to be here. He's not getting along with somebody. Something's in the water. He's not hurt, okay? There's something in the water. He doesn't want to be here. Max Domi's been good. Everyone's on his ass. Max Domi's been great. They've called up Robertson. Yeah, go ahead.
In the main event, other than like out of the new acquisitions, I'm sure you'll get to him, but Ryan Reeves.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Okay.
Anyways, continue.
Okay.
Continue.
Out of the three, okay, I was most most excited for Ryan Reeves because I know what he brings to the team. Not that I wasn't excited for Domi and Bertuzzi, but I just know what they bring, and it's like, okay, they're filling roles that like Bunting is leaving and shit like that. Like I wasn't as excited. Like Reeves is like this big guy who's gonna punch your head in, right? So I was more excited for that because we haven't seen that in Toronto in a long time. So I was like, this is awesome. But to go back to Domi's been really good, okay? And that third line finally has purpose. They found purpose this week with him, Robertson, and Yarncroke. That line has been awesome, okay? They've been putting in work, putting in goals, so I can't complain. And Max Domi is not Austin Matthews, guys. He's gonna score 50 to 60 points, and that's it, man. And he's gonna play on an edge. He's gonna throw some hits. That's all he is. He's not a superstar. I don't know what people think when they sign these guys. It's too like the expectations are crazy. But anyway, I think he's been good. The best out of the acquisitions. Then okay, let's get into Ryan Reeves. What is happening? The first two games, I was like, the Leafs will never lose again. All right?
Yeah,
like
they're untouchable.
The Montreal game, the fact that they came back, I was like, you shouldn't have been down. There's a couple of mistakes. It's the first game of the year. All is good in my mind. I'm like, it's the first game of the year. Again, the jitters out, all this shit. Reeves punches somebody's head in. Oh, it was Jack-Eye, right? He gets in a fight. Leafs are playing with speed and skill. They come back. They win the game. Exciting. Minnesota, he destroys somebody. I forget who it was. Fights Foligno, gets the boys going. Matthews scores right away, ends up getting the hat trick, setting the tone. That's literally setting the tone. We all make fun of setting the tone and that term that they all use. That is literally setting the tone. He won them that game. Because he set the tone. He hasn't done shit all since then. Since that day against Minnesota. He has not done shit.
I was watching the final minute of Ottawa-Toronto, and you could just see him running around. Like that, there was no need to do that. It's almost like he noticed, oh, there's a minute left. I should make my presence known, and did absolutely nothing. Like he ran around like a clown, didn't do anything. Basically made that whole line unplayable all night because he had Gregor and Camp on his line.
Yeah. And Camp,
like the
Camp
other two,
has. I'm gonna get to him too. He's forgotten how to play the sport.
Like you got Noah Gregor, like he's been decent from the Leaf games I've watched. He's been decent, but the other two out there for a casual skate, like it's sticks and pucks night, and it's bad.
So there's a goal. I'll get to it right away because David Kemp. We'll get to that. I'll come back to Ryan Reeves because we all know Ryan Reeves. The honeymoon is over unless he starts punching some heads in. Okay, David Kemp has forgot how to play hockey, and Brattry Living committed like $9 million to this guy over the next 4 years. Okay. To be a fourth line center. It's absurd. You can find literally anybody that'll do it. Bobby McMahon will do it for free in the Marlies, okay? So, David Kemp, last game, there's one goal specifically that tells you mentally he's not there, okay? I don't care about his physical shape, all this stuff. Mentally, he's not there this year. Who are they playing? Senators dumped the puck in, all right? I can remember vividly, and shout out to Frank Corrado, who posted a video on Twitter breaking this down, but I also noticed it, okay? So, they dumped the puck in. The defensemen are still facing the Ottawa zone, right? Noah Gregor is already turned around and sees the puck. So he is assuming the role as center. Just because you're a center on paper doesn't mean you don't switch positions on the ice depending how the play goes. You should know what each position does if you have to. Nylander switched with Tavares so many times in the defensive zone. It just happens, okay? You should just know mentally what to do. You play in the NHL, for crying out loud. So Noah Gregor assumes the role of center down low. He goes and grab the puck. You can see in the back David Kemp just coming down instead of playing the winger like on the face-off circles, the dots on the high wings to cover the defenseman. He comes all the way down like he's the center too. So now you got two centers below the goal line. The puck comes out to Chychrun, one-timer, scores like wide open, and that's your guy because you have to pick up that read and assume the role as the winger. I know that's very technical. Okay, we're not talking about like jerseys and stuff here. It's very technical stuff with the defensive play. But as an NHL player and a guy who's getting paid like $2.4 million or whatever it is for the next 4 years, you have to understand that. You have to know that. And the fact that he didn't pick that up shows me that he is becoming a non-option too. And to have him and Ryan Reeves in the lineup every night is a disaster.
It's almost like a Colorado situation from last year. I know they're on separate lines, but if you don't have like Matthews or Nylander on the ice, like no one else. There's no one else. Maybe Nyes. Nyes has impressed me, but
Yeah.
nobody does anything else. Like Marner, Ghost, Tavares, Ghost, anybody else. Like, do I even want to mention that? Like that bottom six. Otherwise, I don't know. Like
Well,
Domi, like you said, he's been all
y-
right, but
yeah.
it's just a lack of effort from anybody else.
But that's the exact thing you said, Matt. Like Marner Ghost. If you look at last year, Marner was the guy for the Leafs. He had that crazy streak in November into
Yeah.
December. And he was the superstar for the Leafs last year. He had a great year and he put up like almost 100 points. But Matthews had a down year because of his injury. Nobody wants to talk about it or whatever. And he scored 40 goals. But he wasn't invisible. He had moments. He's Austin Matthews. He's always trying. He's always visual, right? The last, since maybe the second game of the year, I know he's scored a couple goals. Where is Mitch Marner? Like, what? I don't notice him on the ice. The only guys I notice are Nyes, like you said, especially on the top line. Very impressive. Austin Matthews has been crazy this year. 13 goals in 13 games. It's stupid. Which, by the way, I think he only had like 8 through 13 the year he scored 60. So he's going to smash that if he stays healthy. It's going to be stupid.
70? 70?
Maybe. And then they'll miss the playoffs. Awesome. Yeah, and Nylander. I also like Tavares too, and like I said, Domi. A couple guys, right? There's a couple guys that I like. I think are going now, but still, it's like Marner nowhere to be found. Tavares' foot speed is a problem. Not that he hasn't been good, he has been, but there's only a couple guys carrying the team, which is what they're paid to do, mind you. But the team is just not good. And then we haven't even mentioned the defense, okay, bro. You thought the Oilers defense was bad. Name any team in the league with bad defense. This shit is bad, and it's getting worse, okay? Like, John Klingberg and Mark Giordano in the year of our Lord, 2023, as a defensive pairing is criminal. Whoever came up with that, go to jail immediately.
But I think McCabe's back tonight as we're recording this against the Calgary Flames. So we get to see the team that True Living had built previously against the team that he's building right now.
That's right, and we'll see who wins. And it's been reported that he wants to pluck like Tanev and Zadorov and maybe Hanifin from them. Like, okay, man, for who and where's the cap space? You know, like you figure that out for me, and then you present me a trade, and I'll tell you as a fan if that makes sense. But the defense is Riley Brody is great. I loved it during the Canadian year.
Absolutely.
They're great. That's a first line pairing. That's great. Awesome.
I don't know who was it during the playoffs last year. Was it Riley
Shen.
McCabe?
Shen.
Right, Riley Shen.
Then,
Who's McCabe with?
I think he was with Brody. I think. And then
Okay.
Giordano and Liljegren or Hall. That's a good defense core. That is a good defense core. But another wild card here, which we didn't even talk about. Liljegren got injured, and that's why he's not playing. That's why the defense is.
Oh, right, yeah, that was a clown
dirty.
move.
There was no response from it. Same old dude. I would lose my mind if my team didn't respond to something like that.
And there's also who was it? Bertuzzi. As Marchand was walking or not walking, just laughing, just a smile on his face.
Terrible. I know they're buddies because they played together last year and all this. And Marchand's probably talking a lot of shit, right? So he's probably laughing at that. But what if you're
that's the wrong.
Yeah. What if you're whomever, Matthew Nyes, and you look over at Bertuzzi laughing? What kind of message does that send? I don't like that at all. That's trash. You got to be mad. You got to want to get back at him. You want to have to win the game. I didn't like that.
And then Reeves did nothing. That's the worst part about it.
And
the guy that was brought in to not so much protect the team, but if anything went south, okay, you got a guy that can do that for you. Yeah, and he did nothing.
And he they asked him about that in the what's it called? The morning skate, the next morning or whatever. Maybe it was a morning skate. Yeah, the press one of the days following, because they had that stupid players only meeting or whatever. That addressed a lot, guys. You've lost every single game since then, except for Tampa, who choked again.
And they won that game out of spite.
Yeah. But so stupid. But Reeves did 0. And he said, it's because of the last change, because we're in Boston. I couldn't get on the ice with Marchand. Somebody went on Twitter and said for the rest of the game, he had 3 shifts against the Marchand line. Go bash his head in from behind, get suspended. I don't care. You have to set the tone, man. Oh my God, I've been watching Shorzy. If somebody did something like that, the guy would go to jail for his teammate. I know it's exaggerated, but that's what hockey is. It's what hockey is, and the Leafs are
Stand up
not like that.
for one another. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. How do you expect to win in the playoffs if you're like, this guy's not gonna block a shot from me? Screw this guy, right? Like,
Oh, I'm just gonna laugh while my teammates hurt on the ice.
yeah. While he has it could have been I thought it was a broken ankle at first through the replay. I'm like, this guy's done for the year. He might still be done for the year, but anyway, to get back to my main point, that's why the defense core looks a little short-staffed because he's not there as well. I know McCabe's coming back, but now Klingberg is out with injury. Sheldon Keefe, by the way, great coach. Telling the media he's injured. Good guy.
Robodos Island.
Good guy. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they tossed him out there. Oh, he's allergic to his equipment now. He can't play anymore.
No, they gotta find a new excuse. The Hawks already took that one.
Yeah,
it's gonna be something wacky.
Yeah. Oh man. I don't know what the answer is besides a panic trade. I also read something that remember the Flames like blocked Tree Living from being on the draft floor until their pick or something. You think that the ownership is going to allow Conroy to make a trade with Toronto? I don't think that's happening. I know Tree Living wants them. I don't know if it's going to happen, man.
It's so like calculated, like a GM that publicly says, "Oh, these are the moves I want to make." Like, no. You don't do that. You don't leak your own intel.
No. That's so. Hey guys, I'm thinking of doing this.
And
Man, it's also that could have been an email to your employees.
Is it also kind of tampering as well? Is that not tampering?
Yes. Yeah. Tampering doesn't exist in the NHL, Matt. Don't you?
Oh no.
Jack Campbell. He signed that contract the day of, Matt.
What do you mean? Pure coincidence.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you wish you wouldn't have tampered now, huh? But yeah, the Leafs goaltending. You hope that Samsonov finds his kind of mojo.
See, the team, it's night and day the difference the team plays in front of Samsonov on the wall.
Oh, it's crazy because of the confidence thing that you were talking about.
Yeah, it's all about confidence. Like they know Woll will make a save, but it was the which game? The Tampa game.
Yeah.
The first 3 goals before Samsonov was pulled, brutal.
Yep.
Brutal. Is the second one, is that Kucherov?
Kucherov.
Fairly certain is a Kucherov in the slot. Brutal. You got to make that save. Not even screened.
No, you have to make there was a couple goals where you're like, even the first one, the Hedman goal, I don't know if you saw that. You have to make that save. There is no other, you can't beat around the bush there. You have to make that save or you're going to lose the game, like flat out. Like that, it's a routine, like stand in front of it. Literally like a 1950s goalies with your like arms like this and your legs stuck together.
No mask.
Together.
Yeah.
No mask. Just stand there and stop it. Like, I don't know what the answer is for Samsonov, but Woll is the real deal. I know that he's led in a couple like 5-goal games here. It's the defense's fault, and it's very apparent because he's making some huge saves. Like it would be a lot worse without him, actually. And it's apparent because of Samsonov, 4 goals in 1 period. Not good. But yeah, I don't know what even the one thing that pissed me off actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm sure you saw it. That goal that Samsonov, like he had the puck behind the net and the guy like stripped him and scored, and that was like the backbreaker. It was like 6-3, 5-3 or something.
Oh yeah.
So behind the net, somebody stripped him with the puck. So he's going to play the puck, right? And he doesn't see the guy coming behind him who's going to strip him of the puck and score. So that happened. Everyone's like, "Oh, Wall, you dumbass! Like, why would you go behind the net? Why wasn't anyone screaming that there was a guy on him? He didn't know. Why wouldn't you tell him? Why wouldn't you say, "Hey, man on"? There was nothing.
They just expected him to know.
They just stand around. Like I don't understand. I feel like the Leafs just don't like communicate with each other on the ice. I don't know what it is. Like. You have to just yell, be like, "Yo, man on," and then Woll would be like, "Man on." Oh, there's a guy behind me. I will put the puck elsewhere. He gave it right to him because he had no idea.
Or just stay in the net.
Or just stay
if
in
you're
the
a goal,
net.
if you're a goaltender,
tend the goal.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming the defense or whoever was on the ice. I'm not like giving blame elsewhere than Woll alone. Like not trying to, but I think there's more. Like he had no idea the guy was there. I feel like you could at least let your goalie know something's happening.
Yeah. Still a young goalie. I mean, still lots of time.
Yeah,
and he looks good. He looks good. That's
great.
the thing.
He looks great. Best goalie since Reimer in my eyes for the Leafs. So Anderson was good in the regular season, make some big saves, but then every time it mattered, he would fall apart.
Ghost Freddy. Yep.
Yeah. And Jack Campbell was same.
The absolute disrespect to Michael Hutchinson. Come on now.
God, that guy. Oh boy, I'm so glad they got rid of that guy. Yeah, I don't know. I think we can move on. The Leafs, I don't know what the answer is, and I feel like they're in the same boat as the Oilers. I feel like it could get really hairy here if they lose to the Flames.
And then they have Vancouver
They have
tomorrow
Vancouver
night.
the next night. Yeah, so it could get
The
really bad.
buzzsaw Canucks. Like
And
the Canucks, they're scary. I'm not gonna lie. They're scary.
They are. But they should be. I feel like, they're on paper they should be a good team. And they got
They
the
should.
goaltending. They should, right?
There's
So I think
there's
they're
just
playing.
a bunch of variables heading to the season. Like, is Demko going to stay healthy? Is
Exactly.
Pettersson going to continue to be the way he is? But anyways, yeah. I mean, the Oilers. What a vibrant episode this has been.
Very
Wow,
weird.
just nothing but rainbows and cupcakes in
Matt,
Canada.
Matt, with our next topic, it's going to continue. But I just wanted to say, so I thought it was pretty interesting, the goaltending combos they have for this weekend for the Leafs. I thought they were going to go with Samsonov with the easier team in Calgary and then save Wolf for Vancouver. They're doing the opposite because I think Keefe wants to guarantee a win against Calgary, and then whatever happens Saturday happens because they're going to get shit kicked by the Canucks. I don't know what else to say. McCabe is going to help. One guy. The team stinks. The team stinks. But we can move on. We can move on. I really want to because I've been talking way too much about the Leafs. I don't want to talk about
It's okay. It's nice to get in some discussion about the Leafs.
Yeah. It just dabble in that. But anyway, let's talk about something more positive. The Penguins are retiring number 68 for Yager. So he's going to get his own little banner there. Nobody will ever be able to wear it in Pittsburgh, and I think that's well overdue. He hasn't played in the NHL for quite some time. So it's nice. Like, we all knew it was going to happen. One of the best Penguins of all time. With good company there, of course. But yeah, Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, long overdue, like you said. I can't believe it took that long because, he's the only other two numbers in Pittsburgh are Michel Goulet and obviously Mario. So,
And
yeah,
Crosby eventually. So
and
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that trio, I think 71, 87. I forgot Chris Letang's number for
58.
almost a second. 58. God, why did I think he was 57? 58, Letang. That trio, I think those three will also go up too. I'm a fake hockey fan for not knowing Chris Letang's number. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more numbers in Pittsburgh. Even 29. Like Fleury? Yes?
It's
no?
possible.
Maybe so?
After
It's
he's
very
retired,
possible.
Yeah, he won 3 cups there. It's very possible, man. But yeah, good for Yager. Hopefully he comes out for the ceremony and stuff. That'd be nice to see him again in Pittsburgh. And yeah, well deserved. I mean, one of the best players in NHL history, especially recent or the modern era, I should say. But yeah, I guess we can move on. The Vancouver Canucks, we did mention them earlier. What happened? They are legit as shit, no?
They are a team that fully bought into Rick Tocchet's system. They are a fire wagon team, balls to the wall. They got goaltending, they got defense, they got offensive explosion because you got guys who are starting to regain their form like Brock Besser. I don't think anybody expected a bounce back year like this from Brock Besser, and a Norris finalist. He will be a finalist. I think he might even win it all. Quinn Hughes, that is just both sides of the puck. He's ridiculous.
I mean, to go back to Pettersson for a second, 24 points in 13 games, super impressive. I
think he's leading the league right now.
He
is
is
he not?
leading the league. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in goals, but in points, obviously. But yeah, I mean, he is playing up to his potential, what we all thought he could be. He's playing lights out, and right under him is Quinn Hughes with 21 points. And you made the point. Quinn Hughes could win the Norris this year. I mean, I saw at one point there was a cool stat where Hughes is leading points for defensemen. Jack Hughes is leading points in total in the league, which I think has changed because of Pettersson. And then Luke Hughes was leading rookies in points, which is pretty cool. The Hughes supremacy over the league. But yeah, Quinn Hughes is probably, man, we made our list, but Quinn Hughes might be the best defenseman in the league.
I still have Makar as number one.
I know he's pretty good, but Quinn Hughes is he's
But,
making a statement this year though.
A very recent top 10.
Yes, yeah.
Hughes could make a case for number one.
Yeah, I think the other, like you mentioned, Brock Besser, obviously he is who he
Kuzmenko.
is. Kuzmenko, there was a lot of question marks. Like Kuzmenko, will he continue to do what he did last year? Because obviously rookie year, it looks like he's going to. And TJ Miller, or JT Miller, sorry, I always got that mixed up.
TJ Miller, like the
TJ Miller.
comedian?
Yeah,
All
the
right, fair
comedian.
enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll cut
I
you
always
the,
got it
the
mixed
benefit
up.
of the
I'm
doubt.
sorry. JT Miller probably still doesn't know how to play defense, but he's putting up points this year. He's a PP specialist. So, I mean, they're all doing the one thing with Vancouver this year is their best players are their best players, and and it's just showing.
They're showing up.
Yeah, and I mean Mikheyev is getting in there too because he's had some injury problems, right? And then obviously Casey DeSmith has gotten them some good minutes. Like he's been all right.
Serviceable backup.
Very serviceable backup. And then you got Demko up there who's going to play majority of the games and he's playing amazing. So they look really good. I think they're going to make the playoffs. What a turnaround for the Vancouver Canucks. It's going to be very interesting. I don't know. They got the goaltending. So
Must be nice.
I think it could take them. Yeah, for real. I think it could take them anywhere. I think
I'm sorry. Before you get into that, I'm very interested to see how well they match up with Vegas this year. Like that first Vegas Vancouver game, for
gonna be
me,
good.
must watch.
Yeah, I know.
Anyways,
yeah. I wanted to move into. We haven't talked about NHL 24 on the podcast.
we
yet.
haven't.
And unfortunately, Nick is not here for this today. I really was hoping that he would be here for this conversation. But I next podcast, we'll all be here, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again because the game's not going away, although I wish it would. So the game came out. It was released. We talked about it on the podcast. The game came out. I didn't buy it again. Matt, you bought it. They've had a few patches since. I want to know from you the experience of buying it as a day one purchase, how the gaming experience was, what's different this year from last, and what you like and don't like, and then we'll get into like my thoughts and us playing together because obviously I bought it since because I'm a hypocrite.
Day one, I feel like that was the wrong move because I pretty much expected you, Nick, and the others to sort of get it day one as well, and we'd pick up where we left off from 23. I didn't touch it much until you guys got it. There's just so many things to talk about the game that are different from 23 to 24 because I loved 23 compared to 24. It just felt more fluid of a game. 24 just feels clunky, no matter how much you want to say, oh, new changes, in the offensive zone with the zone pressure system, which I think is extremely broken, along with the goalies, because, of course, like, your goalie will let in everything, and then the opposing goalie will make, like, some 98 Hasek type saves. But it hasn't lived up to my expectations, like we had mentioned during the reveal trailer, because I remember during the reveal trailer, we thought, oh, this game is going to be awesome. And then we played the beta, and then we thought, oh, we were completely wrong. This game sucks. And it kind of still does suck.
Can I cut in for a second there?
Sure can.
With the
Fire
beta,
away.
With the beta, it's a beta, okay? And every year
it was a beta.
Right. And every year we get the beta and we play together the beta and I'm like, oh, the passing sucks. And then Nick will go, hey, it's a beta. And I'm like, oh, you know what? You're right, man. And we'll continue playing, right? This year I picked up the beta. I played twice with you and I was like, this is genuinely not fun. Like, forget the bugs because it's a beta. Like the passing isn't as crisp or the puck might like bounce around weirdly because it's a beta. I was like, genuinely, this game is not going to play well. And it is not fun. Like, I would rather spend my time doing something else. And I knew that from the beta already, but continue with what you were saying.
They fixed a lot of things that were not broken.
Right.
Like, and that could just go for like the whole game in itself, like the creation menu or the creation zone, I should say, all the user interface, all the things that they designed to be fast tracked to make it more accessible for you, just turned it into a choose your own adventure type novel where you don't exactly know what's going on. And they don't tell you because there's 3 different options. There's like the home pro, away pro, and alternate pro for your club. They don't tell you that you have to make each separate pro from scratch again. And if you want like the exact same all across the board, then you have to manually do that yourself. You can't copy one to the other two. And it just makes it very tedious. That's exactly what NHL 24 is. One word to describe it: tedious.
Yeah. And there's one glitch. I want to mention it before I forget it off the top of my head since you were talking there about the whole creation zone thing. We are now over a month into this game being released, and there is still a glitch through 2 or 3 patches. It might be 3 at this point, I think, where when you play World of Chell with your team, some guys will get a glitch where both teams' jerseys are either A, the same, or black and you can't differentiate the teams. We are over a month into them having your money, everyone's money, all right, releasing 3 patches, which we'll get into yesterday's because I have something to say about that too. And that isn't fixed. It isn't fixed, and everyone is throwing it in their faces. Please fix this. It's an issue. It's bad. We hate it. And they go, what's that? You all need quality of life changes? We will surely get on that.
You want Bobby Orr? Is that what you're saying?
Dude, I saw that yesterday. I texted one of my buddies. I was like, everyone, fix the game. EA, best we can do is Bobby Orr. Like, what's going on?
And they overhyped that to the max too. Like, if you play Hut, big news. Bobby Orr.
Bobby Orr. And then, so I found this funny too with the patch updates because it was included in the new patch yesterday, right? Or was it today? No, yesterday. It came out yesterday.
Yeah.
So they fixed the glitch where if you get hit in the NHL now and your helmet comes off, you have to get off the ice. So that wasn't happening in the game. You would stay on the ice with your helmet, right? So they fixed that glitch where they automatically go to the bench. And somebody was like, hey, doesn't Bobby Orr not wear a helmet?
I don't wear a helmet in World of Chill.
Yeah.
I was like, give me a penalty.
No, I think it was funny though. I think they mean obviously it's just for NHL teams playing each other. But I don't know. Their priorities are so far gone to what the community wants and what they just should be doing. It's crazy. Every year they're like, look at these brand new features, and everyone's like, did you fix what we needed to be fixed? And they're like, oh, we forgot about that. My bad.
But here's something else that you didn't really want.
But here's brand new button passing that you definitely didn't have in NHL 2K5.
See, though, the icon passing is cool. That's cool.
Everything
Everything else.
I just hated how they're like, look at this new shit. And it's like, it's not new shit. It's not. We had this. Why was it taken out? I find myself this year more than ever before going, somebody will be like, hey, this is cool. It's back in the game. And I'm like, why was it ever taken out? When did it mysteriously leave? Replays. Did you know replays weren't in NHL 23? I didn't even know that. I didn't play it enough, I guess, to know
Made the game quicker. Made the game so much quicker, though. In NHL 23, you need at least like an hour just to play one game because there's navigating the menus.
Yep.
There's going to the dressing room, the lobby. There's finding a game, and then you're getting into the game. And by that point, 15, 20 minutes waiting for everybody else to get online has surpassed.
I have to say
it's so slow. It is very slow.
I got it because it's Black Friday sales or whatever, and I was like, it's not gonna get cheaper than this. Besides being free in March
on EA Play,
or the Game Pass on Xbox. I won't forget about you, Xbox people. But I was like, yeah, I'll pick it up, whatever. So I picked it up, installed it, whatever, and we've been playing a little bit. And I'm like, okay, the game sucks. There's a lot of bugs that they haven't fixed yet. I love the fact that I cross-check every time I want to shoot the puck. Awesome. Great fix, EA. Which they said they were going to fix. Didn't. But the one thing through playing the game, so I had all these opinions while not playing it because I played past iterations of the game with you guys and I played it a lot. And it's one of the only games I play because, I don't know, I don't play video games like that, like other people do, right? Like story mode games or whatever. Since buying the gameplay and all this has its issues, whatever. My main complaint and gripe with the game is the menus. It's my number one. I can't get over it. I cannot get over it. I can't get over how many there are, how slow they are for PS5. I played Matt. Okay, I know you're not a big like single player guy too, right? Am I fair in saying that?
Not particularly.
Yeah,
very fair.
Okay. Me neither, okay? But I'll play a game like Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man, and the games are really great. So I picked it up like day one, right? The Spider-Man game. I finished it, all right? Like after whenever. Like I took my time playing it, whatever. And I 100%ed it, whatever. It's not that hard to do. There was not a single loading screen the entire playthrough for me. Not a single one. You click X to load into the game, it's immediate. You want to fast travel across New York? Seamless. Switch characters, seamless. It just happens. EA, there's like 5 different sub-menus to get you to the game mode you want to play, specific to 3-on-3 or 6v6, and then it takes forever to load. Dude, we are on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. They have SSDs in them. There is no I watched the live stream this week. Sorry, Matt, I'm just going off now. I watched the live stream this week where Mike Engelhard, the new producer of EA, was talking about the menu. Somebody asked him a question about it, and he said it has something to do with the fact that they're running on multiple platforms. They're still running on PS4. That makes no sense because you're on PS5
really doesn't.
and it has an SSD.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to grasp at straws there. But there's also another thing too. To sort of, I'm not going to ramble on here, but a friend of ours plays goalie, and so there's the option to take tether off and on, in the settings.
Yeah.
In the World of Chill menu, you turn it off. Okay, it should be off. You load into a game. You're expected to, roam the ice freely as a goalie, as opposed to being tethered, and it's still on. It's like, what's the set? You got to do it in game. You have to waste a pause, or
you have to waste a pause, or you get scored on 2-3 times before the first intermission, and then you do it.
But it's like, why do you have to do it multiple times?
Let me ask you
just
this,
for it to save.
Let me ask you this. Beyond all that, because that's all bullshit and it should be fixed, right? the tether, it's literally like FIFA, because if you hold L1 in FIFA as a goalie, it'll just play for you. So it's literally that. It just holds you to the center and it'll make the save for you, whatever, right? My question is, like, this is a video game, right? So why is the option to play secondary now behind a new tether system catered to casual players? If you're a casual player, you've never picked up the game, you should be able to put on like training mode that would have that on it, right? And otherwise, you're just playing goalie. Like, I don't know why, especially with total control. Like, why are these new things, like new features, the default now? It blows my mind that they're trying to, like, I don't know what they're trying to do with this game. I actually cannot believe how far down a rabbit hole 24 has gone, like how far bad it's gotten. I just don't know how they pull it out to be okay again. I really don't.
And we haven't even mentioned, like, I know neither of us are like GM mode guys, but there's been a plethora of things that are just wrong with franchise mode. 2G24, a very popular NHL GM mode YouTuber, refuses to touch 24 because of how awful the AI is when it comes to like contract scenarios, entry-level deals, trading, and he's even gone back to playing GM mode on NHL 11 and NHL 12. That's how bad it is when a guy that is vocal about the game, like he goes to all the game changer events, he's openly negative for a good reason too, because they need these big names to speak up about the game, what they like, what they don't like. And he's just said, yeah, 24 sucks. I'm not gonna touch it. Like, that is bad. Do you see FIFA YouTubers openly badmouth the game like that? I'm sure there's a few, but the big ones for the most part, they love it. Like, the only time I saw FIFA YouTubers really say the game was going downhill was when they introduced the fixed prices, like the price ranges.
Yep.
But anyways, I'm going off topic here. But you need to listen to the community that is heard from the most.
But they have lost the community at this point. It's new players now. Like, when I look at the Reddit, NHL EA, whatever it is, it's all new people saying, how do I play this? How do I do this? Like, the community is almost rebuilding now to what the standard is now, because everyone, like us who enjoyed playing the game in like 16 or 17 or whatever, like, everyone's gone. Nobody's playing this game like they used to, or they just haven't bought it. And honestly, I don't play it. Like, I ended up getting it, but I got it to play with you guys, right?
Yeah.
There are people who don't buy it to play with their friends that aren't going to buy this one.
Yeah. It's going downhill.
Yeah, and the other thing you brought up, FIFA has, correct me if I'm wrong, please, okay? In the comments, call me an idiot, whatever it is. But I'm pretty sure.
I'll call you an idiot.
Oh, yeah, you do that for free all the time. Thanks, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Keeps
Anyways,
me grounded.
continue on.
Keeps me, it's humbling. But they change their Be a Pro like storyline every year, I'm pretty sure. Same with NBA. They do a good job with that, right? Those games have their issues, don't get me wrong. But NHL has been the same Be a Pro story mode since NHL 19. It's been 5 years. It's the exact same.
Opening cutscene of that mountain, eh? Unbelievable.
The exact same every time. Like you mentioned, GM mode is terrible. Last thing I want to mention too, because I brought it up, like the worst part of it easily is the menus and how slow they are. Objectively, Matt, we know how to get to World of Chell, like into our dressing room and stuff like that. We know how to do that because we've been playing the game for years, and through COVID, like that's the only game I played and whatever.
But tell a casual player, get to this part.
Objectively, if you look at the menus, somebody who just bought the game for the first time, or even somebody who hasn't bought the game in a few years, they're going to be like, how do I play? How do I get to the point where we're on the ice?
And it's so bad too, because we played the game for so many years that you can't give them a basic answer. You have to walk them through steps.
My
like,
cousin,
you have to go here, you have to go there, you have to go here, then there. Oh, but wait, you forgot a step. It's over there. It's just so redundant.
I'm using a real life example. Like my cousin, when I say that, was literally one time like, how do I play? Like, how do I play? I don't understand how to play. Like World of Shell is what I'm saying, right? And then HUD is confusing too. I don't even touch HUD. I don't even play that shit.
HUD's a cash grab.
Yeah, complete cash. I don't even indulge in that shit. And I've had buddies that bought it like during COVID that never really played the NHL because the menu hasn't changed since NHL 20 and 21. So back then we would do like a FaceTime or whatever, and they're like, where do I go to play with you? Like, what do I press? Where do I go? It doesn't make 3-on-3, 6-on-6, and then you click into that and it's like, you want to do a drop-in game? Do you want to do club? Do you want to play as a club? Like, what does it mean? What does it mean? It's so, they have not simplified it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
No. What event session today has been. Thank you for listening.
I feel good. I feel good, Matt.
Yeah. For those that have stuck with us so far through the Oilers rant, through the Leafs rant, I think the only good part was the Yager news. But yeah, like I said, thanks for listening.
Well,
anything else?
You know what? No.
What?
Like,
let's give ourselves some credit. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah. I mean, like, this is what I want to leave off on. All right, because I have no more topics for today's episode, so we're leaving off on this. Christmas is around the corner. You know, like it's a nice time of year. You know, everyone gets together around Christmas time. We're almost there. It's November. The NHL season's like in full swing, which is awesome. I always love this time of year. And, you know, things are good. You know, we complain about the Leafs and the Oilers and all this shit, but things are good. You know what I'm saying? So
there's surprisingly enough to those that are listening, there's more to life than sports.
There is, but we do enjoy it, and I do get very pissed off when the Leafs lose. So
it's our one vanity, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, dude, the Leafs lose. You ever see those tweets where people are like, "Don't let yourself get emotionally attached to hockey players and teams, and don't let it affect your night." And then the Leafs will lose, and I'm like, I am allowing it to happen. It's happening.
Yeah, this sign can't bother me because I can't read.
So I can't read. Yeah, exactly. Oh my god. All right. With that being said, guys, Matt, I thank you for joining me this week on the duo cast here. We're just me and you. Hopefully we get Nick back next week.
Hopefully.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah, I think Nick will tell us some stories from the Easter Seals celebrity event.
Yeah, I'm excited
because that had guys such as Nick Andropov, Ray Bourque, Wendell Clark. Any other names? Ally Frady, I'm pretty sure I saw.
I think so. Christopher Steve's going to be there. Should be interesting as well.
I feel like there's a big name that we're missing.
There's a couple. They shift every year. There's a couple legends in and out every year. So Nick will let us in behind the scenes of the weekend because I believe he went yesterday as well. Yeah,
Thursday, Friday. So it'll make for a fun story time next week. I'll tell you that.
Oh, it will. It should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. We almost got a couple episodes in a row with story time, but unfortunately this week we didn't have any stories to tell. But we hope everyone has a great week. If you're driving while listening to this, please drive safe. Consider wearing a helmet like I am on this episode. Don't do that. That's stupid.
And also tomorrow, Remembrance Day. Take time to remember.
Take time to remember. Get your poppies. Donate what you can, right? Wherever you can find them. Good shout, Matt. Remembrance Day. I almost forgot. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So we hope everyone enjoys their week. We will see you next week. Take care, everyone.
For more content, visit our YouTube channel and check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow the guys on social media at Matt_Mondays, at Nick LaFlame, and at Darius Dominguez.